at the end of the day, I wanted to be here. So wasn't a whole lot of I didn't have a lot of doubt that I would be coming back.
Matt, what was this layoff like for you in terms of your baseball work and what you were able to do?
For me, it was, I was pretty lucky in the sense that, even throughout the whole quarantine, I was able to continue pretty much doing the same thing I was doing in spring training. As we left camp, still being able to go out and take ground balls, had a facility where I could hit and train. So, didn't really miss a beat.
Would you describe that work as kind of an extension of what you did in spring training? Were you able to add anything as far as what you were able to work on?
Yeah, it was pretty much just an extension of it. Continue doing the things that we had done to get ready for the season in spring, both at the plate offensively and, defensively.
Matt, what's your position on the use of the designated hitter this year?
I think it's great. I think it's great for, especially a lineup like ours where we got, some bats that we'd like to, get in there, some playing time, fighting for some playing time for, a lot of guys. So I think it gives an opportunity to, add one extra hitter. I think that's always a good thing.
Matt, what's the feel like, Ben? Does it at times feel like a normal camp, or is everything different? What's the feel like?
Once we step out, I was telling my family this the other day because everybody's curious at how everything's going. And once you step out on the field, everything's pretty much the same. Back to baseball feels pretty normal. But, there's nothing about what leads up to that feels normal whatsoever. The moment you pull into the clubhouse, we're living in a different world right now. Nothing is, the conveniency that we're all accustomed to, just, the routine and all the things that, you do to get yourself ready to play a major league game or go through a major league practice has completely changed. And so, it's not easy, but it's our new normal. So we just got to get used to it. So, but, like I said, once we step out on the field, everything feels normal. But, leading up into that, it's definitely, we're having an adjustment period.
Hey, Matt, given the time off, but also then going into an area here where you're going to kind of test the work you did in the time off, how do you get feedback on that without, say, games? Can you do that in scrimmage? Can you get a sense of where your timing is, even though it's a very non-traditional, not like any spring training?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially for a guy like me, I've done this long enough. I know where I need to be and what I need to, work on, how I need to feel. I know when my swing is good, and I can find that facing my own teammates. I can find that in spring training games. I can find that with no defenders out there, and I can find that with it doesn't matter. So, for me, yeah, I don't think it's going to be too big. And I think I talked to you before about this, Jerry. I think the biggest thing that is going to be interesting is, finding the ability to, and maybe not just in our camp, but in every camp across Major League Baseball, where you had guys that were looking to possibly break in and make a name for himself this year. How are you going to be able to watch that in this? Because a lot of guys make the team out of spring training, and they do it with the success they have against other big league competition. Well, it's just going to be hard to figure that out when you're scrimmaging yourself. So that'll be interesting. I don't know how that plays out.
Do you have any thoughts on the runner at second that you guys worked on today, and sort of the how that could play into extra innings, particularly how you defend against it with as a third baseman? Yeah,
I don't know. It's something we're all trying to work. We're gonna have to work through and adjust on the fly. Just kind of get used to. I think it'll add a layer of strategy and add a layer of excitement to the game. It's certainly not traditional. For any, the baseball purists out there probably hate it. But, given the circumstances in this year, I think it's a smart decision that MLB decided to implement, and we're gonna figure out how it plays out, the strategy behind it, we've had conversations both offensively and defensively, how that's going to play out and what would be best for us and what that looks like going forward.
Will you drop a bunt if you're leading off the 11th inning?
I think it would depend on, for sure, who's behind. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, to answer your question, but I think it would depend on two things: how I'm swinging the bat, and the guy behind me, if he's really swinging the bat well. But yeah, I'm not opposed to it at all. I think you guys have seen I'm not opposed to laying down bunts, and if it's definitely going to give us a chance to win the game, I'll for sure do it.
Is it going to change your footwork at third too? We saw a little bit of that today.
Change my footwork at third?
Yeah, or your positioning at third a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're just gonna have to be aware of, I mean, we all have been in that situation before where the winning run is at second base, but never have we been in a situation where to start the inning, every inning of an extra inning game, it's going to be there. So, I think all those things are going to come into play.
And Matt, do you have a fear that you guys will possibly start the season? There'll be so much optimism, and because of the unknown and possibly because of COVID, that the season might have to end prematurely?
Man, you know what? If there's anything that this COVID thing has taught me throughout this is to not worry about what tomorrow brings. I mean, you just will literally spin yourself into the ground thinking about all the different scenarios. What if this, what if that, what if this? I try to show up every day. Today, literally woke up and knew exactly what I wanted to get done at the field, came to the field, got it done, and then I'll worry about tomorrow when it gets here.
Thanks.
Hey, Matt, Schulte said yesterday that there's really no defined list of guys that he could see being the DH at different times. How does that change things for you, compared to playing in the field and then hitting, or just specifically being the DH? What changes?
You kind of broke up in the middle of your question. Can you repeat that?
Sure. I guess I'll try to shorten it. What changes for you on a day that you're the DH versus a day that you're playing third base and DH? Is it an advantage?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a ton of
Right.
reps at the, designated hitter, but from conversations I've had with people who've done it and watched it, I think there's a lot of benefit in it as far as kind of the rest on your body. It takes a toll on you being out there on defense for 9 innings over and over again, day in, day out. So I think it's great, that we have that ability now. And I think you mentioned at the beginning, you've had conversation with Schilt about the potential that there might not be just a standard one DH. It'll be rotated. I think that's great too, giving guys opportunities to get their legs underneath them. But as far as how that plays out and what it needs to do when you're the DH, I think it gives you the ability to kind of have a little bit of a mental break because you're not worried about defense. You can kind of solely focus in on your approach at the plate. But I think from an offensive or from a defensive standpoint, just giving that fresh legs is going to really help guys going forward. But we'll just see how it plays out. I mean, and I think he would be the first to say too, sometimes that might not end up being how it is anyway. There might be one of those guys might just fall into that. Myself might just fall into that role and stay with it. So who knows how it's going to play out.
Matt, we talked in spring a lot about how you were focusing on durability for your body over the course of a long season. Does that change at all, knowing that this is only a 60-game season? How do you adapt kind of your approach?
Yeah, I think this year is more of a sprint. You don't really have, if anything, all of us are fresh, and you've got 60 games to kind of give it your best effort, get after it, and see what happens. So I don't think I speak for myself. I don't think I'll be monitoring it as closely, because I feel like, anybody can just go after it for, 3 months, and, you don't really have to leave anything in the tank for that late push, because there really is no late push. It's kind of just boom. So, but I think it'll be good. I think all of us are excited and ready to go, and we'll have a ton of energy from start to finish.
And you said you didn't have any feelings about not playing this season, really, but you do see guys, around the league, pretty much every day making that decision not to play. Is that something that you as a team do discuss and notice and talk about? And then part two, did you bring your family with you from Texas, or did they stay at home?
Yeah, my family's here. I wouldn't have. I mean, if And I don't know how everybody's playing out, how it's all playing out for each individual. I respect everybody who opts out and, completely understand the concern and reasons why. And, but my assumption, at least in some of these guys, I haven't talked to them, is probably their families, didn't feel comfortable traveling to the city that they were going to play in, and they were going to be without them for 3 months, and probably was one of the main reasons why they decided that it wasn't worth it. If my family, for whatever reason, wasn't willing to come to St. Louis with me for, out of reason for concern of safety or whatever, I probably wouldn't have played either. But they're here, and we're all supporting each other, and we're going to go through it together. So that makes that decision easy for me. But if I was separated from them and wasn't going to be around them, I mean, it might have changed my thought behind it for sure.
Thank you.
And Matt, as a sports fan in general, do you find yourself following the NBA and some of these other leagues that are in a bubble, and kind of just like from a fan standpoint, from not as an athlete, just your curiosity of like, can they pull this off?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I'm rooting for them, and I've had college coaches, athletic directors, people associated with the universities around that are, really hoping that especially MLB finds a way to make this season happen, because I think they're all kind of looking at us as a test case for if college football is going to happen, if the NFL is going to happen, all these things. So as a sports fan and as an athlete, I'm pulling for everybody to get through this. And I'm not, I think we all know the challenges that it's going to bring, and it's not going to be easy, but I'm hopeful.
Matt, can you describe sort of what you're seeing from your teammates that throwing live BP from the pitchers, and sort of the how ready they stayed, how sharp they look considering the length of time off?
I think they look great. I think it's the standard old age of right back to pitchers are always a little ahead of hitters. They look good, and we're trying to catch up to it. But, I think you guys know as well as I do, one thing that is a strong suit for this club is our arms. We've got a lot of good arms. They all look great. They're all healthy, ready to go. So it's a good thing.
It stand out to you that Wainwright, on what I guess would be his first live BP of spring, goes out there and throws 4 innings?
That guy, no, nothing he does surprises me.